What is going on, everybody? Welcome back here to the Sports Outlet Show on this late Wednesday night. My name is Joe Wagner here on the late shift with Brent Allegra and Braden Wilkins. As always, gentlemen, how are we doing this fine evening?
Doing well. My NFL team, the Giants, not playing too hot right now, but my college football team looks like it's improving. Went from 122nd to 20, I think. No, 126th to 22nd in the 2026 recruiting rankings. So huge recruiting heater for James Franklin, and I'm just pumped about it. I'm pumped.
Dude, I feel the same way. It's so much to keep up with. It's hard to just follow everything that's happening. It's just every 20 minutes, I feel like it's somebody new coming over, and it's just so exciting to see. I'm already so hyped for next season.
Y'all forget that the transfer portal still exists too.
Mm-hmm.
Just getting started.
He said in that presser, he said he was going to look towards the portal a lot in the first year. So I expect some big additions there as well.
It is exciting times in Blacksburg. We are diving full into the college football realm today here on the late shift. There is going to be barely, if any, NFL talk. But first, I want to give a shout out down there at Shepherd. Ty Gill is hosting a group work night, and they are putting us on the TV watching. So shout out to Shepherd. Tyson Bajan is an absolute animal. Congratulations for that NFL product. So thank you for tuning in and hanging out with us here. It's almost exam time, right? It's getting close. It's getting close. It's got to be.
I'm glad I'm not doing that anymore.
Hey, man. We all have to find a day job, and that's the way you do it 9 times out of 10. But speaking of day jobs and paychecks, we're going to start off here with the coaching carousel. We could probably spend an hour and a half talking about all of the contract signees, the drama that led up to this past week. As soon as the season ends, especially bowl game season, coaches start to jump ship, and every different coach, some are competing for college football playoffs. Some are competing this weekend for conference championships. It's absolute madness. One guy that's not competing at all, Lane Kiffin. LSU, 7-year, $91 million, a 55-19 record with the Ole Miss Rebels. Guys, this announcement came at 1:30 in the morning. We knew it was happening, but it finally happened. Lane Kiffin, a Tiger, the captain abandoned ship. What's some instant analysis and feedback here, guys? This is the biggest whale of the portal.
Yeah, obviously the biggest shoe to drop in the coaching carousel. Obviously 6 years at Ole Miss, had huge success there. But at the same time, LSU is a huge program as well. So I don't fully put a ton of blame on Lane just because that job is truly once in a lifetime. I will say there were probably better ways that it could have been handled. And Ole Miss also knew what they were getting into when they hired Lane Kiffin. This is who Lane Kiffin is. He's a one of one. He's a one of one guy is the best way to put it. And honestly, I thought about it a lot, and I blame the calendar more than anything. The fact that, and I get it with the NIL landscape, but the fact that you can be pushing for a playoff run, about to compete in the playoffs, and then totally jump ship and go to a new school, it just doesn't make sense to me. And I think there has to be some sort of solution that college football can come to prevent things like this from happening in the future.
Yeah, it's rough.
Yeah, 100%. Joe, as you mentioned, he kept us waiting all night to make that decision. Announced it that he was going to be making the decision earlier that day. Reason it took so long is because he wanted to coach that playoff game for Ole Miss, and he didn't get the chance. They're not allowing it. Parties could not agree on that, which is crazy. Leaving a team in the college football playoff without a head coach, their interim, that's going to be his first game as the head coach. It's just crazy. And for LSU fans, it's going to be hard to do worse than Brian Kelly. He got fired, rightfully so. And the LSU Tigers, hopefully, are going to try to get back to competing for national titles like they couldn't do under Brian Kelly.
Yeah, it's absolute stunner, Brent. I completely agree of the fact that, like, with the signee window and the portal window and everything that happens around NCAA, that's already confusing as heck as it is. That you build a program up exactly what Lane Kiffin did, and you said he is who he is. Obviously, wanted to coach through the college football playoff, but there's no way in heck Ole Miss was going to allow him to stick around behind closed doors with these coordinators, these players that are an easy jump to the Tigers, and obviously you could still see that happening. Is funny, obviously, rumor mill things about how Lane Kiffin said the players wanted him to stay. A lot of them have publicly came up and said that is not the case, saying if you want to leave, respectfully, get out, with some other blurred words in there.
Yeah, I feel like there was probably a good mix of people that wanted him to stay and people that didn't. But at the same time, like, when your coach is leaving for the rival team, I feel like that brings in a lot of emotion as well. And I'm sure the players, I know the fans are pissed. It just brings in a lot of negative emotion.
Yeah, this is about the third place that Lane Kiffin has left with very negative connotations. Obviously, again, not to his fault at all with how it kind of is in the once-in-a-lifetime dream opportunity. Lane Kiffin is by far the best coach that was available for the Tigers to go out and get when they fired Brian Kelly for what they were looking for, especially to get a standing head coach in Kiffin. But absolute massive contract that Ole Miss matched dollar for dollar, but that NIL money speaks in Baton Rouge. It's he's going to try and get a championship, and that's what they do down in Joe Burrowville. Absolute stunner. But the other SEC teams had to kind of scramble a little bit. Kiffin was on a lot of big boards, including this one. Braden, talk to me about someone that's actually still competing for a conference championship here that is going to be the Florida Gators' new skipper.
Yeah, a bit of a different story here. John Summerall being allowed to continue to coach for Tulane to finish out the season. I think that's a classy move from all parties involved. He's 19-7 overall at Tulane, and they are competing for potentially a spot in the college football playoffs. Ole Miss is already pretty much locked in, but Tulane has to win their conference championship game in order to get in. For Summerall, this is going to be huge. It's a big name that Florida's been circulating since they fired Bill Napier earlier in the season. And Joe, as you mentioned, a lot of scramble for this crazy head coaching carousel as a lot of SEC teams, a lot of big names are looking for coaches of high quality, and there just aren't that many out there. So this is a big get for Florida, and we'll see how it works out for them.
Yeah, this one's a no-brainer. It's an interesting one. Tulane, people are saying, why can Summerall do this and Kiffin not? Well, the difference between someone jumping from Tulane to Florida is not the same as going from bitter rivals in Ole Miss and LSU. So this one makes a whole lot of sense. Another one, Brent, someone you had on your hot board early in the year is USF head coach Alex Galesh. Tell me about the Tigers.
Yeah, Alex Galesh, obviously a guy we were looking at, especially the way South Florida started the season. Obviously getting that huge win over Boise State week 1, and then following that up with a win against Florida, who at the time we thought was an SEC powerhouse. Obviously not as great of a year as they would have hoped. But USF really exceeded expectations, at least to start the season. Obviously, we were hoping that they could make a push for that group of 5 playoff spot. We honestly, to start the season, we kind of thought they were locks at one point. So obviously a little bit of a fall off there to end it. But I think this is a great hire for Auburn, especially considering the candidates that were out there, because there's not a lot of great candidates out there.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. It's definitely an interesting one for him. We saw that USF just got their guy as well, and Brian Hartline, which is the rumor mill as well. Obviously, he'll be staying around Ohio State, trying to win another one. But just absolutely incredible hire. It's turning into the American Conference there in the SEC a little bit, transitioning over a third one with Ryan Silverfeld, the Memphis head coach, going to Arkansas. This one was a little surprising to some people. He was definitely on the board for a lot of different people as well. He's been at Memphis for 6 years, 50-24. Arkansas, probably besides the one we're going to talk about here in just a second, the least likely one you want to go to unless you're Will Stein over at Kentucky. He's got his work cut out for him. Tell me about that Oregon OC here, Braden.
Yeah. First season coaching, Kentucky, you're not going to get the high priority targets as in your Ryan Silverfield or your Alex Golesh, but he's coming from Oregon. Their offense has been really good the past couple of years. So it's a good idea to try to get a guy to sort of jumpstart this program. Kentucky's been pretty terrible, frankly, as of late. And with Vanderbilt moving up in the ranks, they might just become the new SEC bottom feeders unless Will Stein has something to say about it. It's going to be interesting to see how he can do in his first season as a head coach.
Yeah, it's a very great offensive-minded person. Dante Moore has a lot to thank to Will Stein. Kentucky needs a fresh start. Obviously, Will Stein is home to Kentucky as well, so he is returning back to the old stomping ground, something a little easier for him to navigate. But again, another guy that I believe is still going to be in Eugene on a playoff run. So most teams are doing this the classy way, to say the least. But Will Stein over there, and this one is almost curious, Brent. The defensive coordinator at Ole Miss staying home, being hired basically 10 minutes after. What do we have on Pete Golding?
Yeah, honestly, don't know a ton about the guy, but I can speak to the Ole Miss defense a little bit. Obviously, he's been the Ole Miss defensive coordinator there from 2023 to 2025. Before that, had a stint as the Alabama defensive coordinator in 2018 to 2022. The Ole Miss's defense is hit or miss. I feel like they rank 7th in the SEC out of 16 teams, so above average, but not top tier in the SEC. So I'm interested to see what Pete Golding does in his first season as a head coach.
You got to think to yourself, how long is this going to be accepted? Obviously, Ole Miss is very excited about Pete Golding. We may see some other teams that have been searching for head coaches start hiring their OC or DC here that we'll talk about in a little bit. But they were quick on this one, and it sounds like the relationship between him and Kiffin is as broken as a wishbone on Thanksgiving, to say it bluntly. He was one of very, if you don't want to coach here, again, get the heck out. So definitely interesting times down there in the SIP. Let's stay a little more local, although he's not going to be local much anymore. Bob Chesney, a big name again around the hiring cycle, was at Holy Cross and then JMU. 2 years is out. He's heading to West Coast LA, so a very different pipeline recruiting cycle about everything you can have for Bob Chesney. He'll have a challenge in front of him. But 20-5 in his 2 years at JMU. Obviously, will be coaching on, I believe that one's on Friday night against Troy in the Sun Belt. So another coach that'll still be around in that conference championship, trying to make the college football playoff in year 3 for JMU in the Sun Belt. This one's a slam dunk for the Bruins for me. I think this is exactly the guy they needed to go get.
Yeah, I agree. He was one of the biggest names in the cycle, surprisingly, coming out of JMU. But Bob Chesney is going to try to follow in the footsteps of Kurt Cignetti and turn around this UCLA program.
Yeah, if Virginia Tech did not get James Franklin, this was the guy that I was hoping they would hire. So I'm big on Bob Chesney as well. Obviously, hope he does great things for UCLA.
Will be playing in the same conference as Kurt Cignetti, which is crazy to say, but it is true. They're on the Big 20 is what it's going to need to be called here soon. Couple other notable head coach hires as well. Eric Morris, who will again be another coach coaching on Friday. It seems like coaches that are coaching the college football playoff or conference championships are getting elevated and for good riddance. But another American coach leaving to go to Oklahoma State. So over there from Frisco to Stillwater, not too much of a jump here. Braden, tell me about Eric Morris and his success so far.
Yeah, it's been an interesting season for North Texas. This is his third year, 22-15. You mentioned he is going to be coaching here this weekend to try to propel North Texas into the college football playoff for that Group of 5 bid. It's been up and down, and the North Texas offense has just been unreal. They've scored the most points per game in the country, so that's going to be good for Oklahoma State. You want them scoring a lot of points.
They have not done that in a long time.
No.
They really have not. Another team that hasn't won a bunch of games that is getting a former head coach. This guy actually was not in a current spot. Brent, tell me a little bit about Pat Fitzgerald joining the Spartans.
Yeah, Pat Fitzgerald, obviously a well-seasoned college football coach, had 17 years of coaching at Northwestern, posted a positive record with Northwestern too, 110 and 101 while he was there, but obviously has not coached since 2022, since those hazing allegations. But like we said, considering the coaching market, I think you want to take a chance on guys like Pat Fitzgerald, especially guys who have experience, considering the candidates that are currently out there.
Yeah, this will be interesting for a team that has just not been relevant in football for a long time. Michigan State should be able to be at that status quo. You know, we can't all be Tom Izzo, but we do need something up there, in Michigan State. A couple others just around the horn here, guys. Please jump in if a couple that you hear over the past couple of days. Speaking of the Mean Green, West Virginia coach Neil Brown is going to be heading that way. He's been a coach for 10 years, 72 and 51. He's going to bring a lot of Big 12 experience, as well as he coached at Troy before then for the Mean Green. Stanford Cardinal got their guy in Tavita Pritchard. This one was interesting, taking a Commanders quarterback coach. Obviously had a great season last year with Jaden Daniels, who can't stay healthy. He's joining staff immediately after that late night game for the Commanders. But he is over there in Stanford now, ready to go. He was there for 12 years as a personnel coach, as well as playing there in 06 through 09. So he's got Stanford Cardinal running through his blood, and that's the kind of guy that Andrew Luck definitely wants running that program. Colorado State getting Jim Mora, who's going to be in his 11th year, who was 46 and 30 at UConn. Again, another interesting hire. And then just a feel-good story over at Kent State for the Golden Flashes. Mark Carney was just supposed to be an interim this year, and they were going to go out and get their guy. He went 5-7 this season, and every player on that staff said, we want him back next season. That's got to make you emotional. That's awesome to see.
Love it.
Heading over to open positions. Brent, what's that top one? What's that top one still looking for a coach?
Yeah, I think old Penn State might be regretting their decision, considering recent events. Obviously, you have a ton of commits flipping their commitment from Penn State to Virginia Tech. That's number one. That's obviously the biggest one of the points I'm going to bring up. But you even have guys like Kalani Sitake, who Penn State had their eyes on. It was about said and done. And at the last second, BYU comes in with an extension to secure him up for the next, I forget how long it is. I believe it's a long time. It's a long time. It's a long time.
He wants to be there.
And the years aren't necessarily as important as the substance of it, just because Penn State can't get a guy. And I don't blame established head coaches not wanting to take this job when they just fired James Franklin, who had an absurd record with the team. Obviously had a couple bad games this year, can't win the big one. But again, only one team wins the college football championship every year. It's very hard to do. You're in the Big Ten. Usually it's an SEC school unless you're Ohio State or Michigan. So it's extremely tough. And I really think that they're probably regretting their decision at this point, especially given their 2026 recruiting class ranking, which I believe is now at 150 something. I need to pull it up.
Yeah, and they got it done early too, October 12th, and they still don't have a guy, and the market is thinning. Joe, you mentioned earlier they might have to start looking internally. Things might get a bit dicey there.
Yeah, I know. I was reading a couple articles today, scrolling Twitter as a man does, right? Especially on National Signing Day, talking about how donors at Penn State are really pushing for Terry Smith to get that contract, the current interim head coach, defensive coordinator over there. The players love him. You see after games when they make the bowl game, they're holding up the Hire Terry Smith signs. That's awesome to see for a program and their players if there is a positive to come out of this. But it's like you said, October 12th. I mean, that was Red River Rivalry OU Texas, right? Weekend, if I'm not mistaken, there in week 6. So it's been a minute. A lot to be seen here still. And like we said, it's thinning. Those top candidates are gone left and right. So it is probably going to be something in person to keep an eye out there on Penn State. But we'll see how they bounce back from this. Interesting to see what the Nittany Lions are going to try to do.
Yeah, their 2026 recruiting class ranking is now 150th, which is right above Prairie View A&M and right below South Dakota State. So, congrats, Penn State.
Yeah,
I am surprised that South Dakota State is actually that low. They're pretty good.
Mm-hmm. They're gonna need some patience. It's gonna be a rebuilding year or two or several. So we'll see what happens.
But neither here nor there up in Happy Valley. But we'll see what happens there. Oregon State, I know a couple people are being rumored around there, but another October 12th firing with Trent Bray. They currently, unless I missed it, don't have a guy. The UAB Blazers, again, October 12th, firing Trent Dilfer. They don't have a guy. Cal fired their guy November 23rd with Justin Wilcox. Ended up getting a win over there to kick out the SMU Mustangs from the ACC championship. So you got to show some interim love there, which was really cool to see. UConn's opened up on the 26th. We talked about more Coastal Carolina Chanticleers. They got rid of Tim Beck, which was a little interesting comparing their bowl eligible in the Sun Belt. Coastal Carolina, they might think they're a little better than they are to be getting rid of a guy like that. I will expect him to land on his feet here shortly in one of these opening jobs. And then obviously we talk about the Green Wave with Summerall going to Florida, but the Bulls got their guy in Brian Hartline. They were on this list earlier. And then Memphis still looking as well with Silverfeld leaving. So a couple great jobs still open, especially in the American, that seem to be a promotional ladder between them and the Sun Belt of getting to the Power Four. So especially with how many got into the SEC this season. So keep an eye out for all of that in the turnover cycle for sure.
Yeah, and honestly, I know Penn State doesn't have a lot of good options at this point. Maybe a little bit biased here, but I would take a long, hard look at a guy like Brian Daboll if I'm Penn State at this point. Obviously, didn't do well on the Giants the past couple of years, but has successful experience coaching in college. I think he personally would be a good fit for them, especially considering the candidates that are currently out there.
Yep. Yeah, coached under Nick Saban. That's about as good of a coaching mentor you can have. So,
does he have a coaching tree somewhere? Saban, not familiar with the name. I'm just kidding. The greatest coaching tree of all of college football. What was it like that one year? He had Kiffin and three other. Was it Kiffin, Smart, and somebody else? It was ridiculous. It might have been Sean McVay or something like that. I don't remember, but I just remember there's a picture with 4 head coaches that are national champions or almost national champions. So it runs deep. Runs deep there in Tuscaloosa. But let's kick it over here, guys. It's conference championship weekend. Has it ever meant more than this weekend for conference championships ever?
I don't know. It means a lot this year for sure.
And then you fiddle with the question of how much does it actually matter?
Yeah.
At the same time, because obviously there are a ton of win and in scenarios for a couple conferences here that we'll dive into. But for teams playing in the SEC, the Big 12, the ACC, what does it actually mean, win or loss? Luckily for you, we're going to dive into it for you and what we think we'll put our degrees together, fellas. I think we're intelligent, but we've got this. But I'll kick us off here in the Sun Belt. We're going in time order. So as you see it up here, you'll be seeing those games on your television starting on Friday night in Bridgeforth Stadium in Harrisonburg, Virginia, one of 3 on Friday night that will all be hosted on campus. The JMU Dukes at 11-1 and getting ranked at 25 in the college football playoff. Guys, Troy is on the other side. Can we get rid of divisions for the love of everything? Like, I don't get it. That we got rid of it everywhere else. The Big Ten finally got rid of them, so Purdue's not here every year. They'd find a way at 1-11 to sneak in this season, I'm sure, if they were still there. But this one's interesting here with the Dukes. They are 23.5-point favorites. They are the highest of the weekend. Jeez. If that doesn't tell you enough. Over-under set at 47.5. All these numbers were pulled yesterday, so it's not my fault if it changed because I don't look at gambling because I'm not allowed to. But my prediction here, I've got JMU 34, Troy 10. This is going to be a beatdown. I'm not going to spend any more time on it. Brent?
Yeah, I have JMU 43, Troy 9. The spread speaks for itself, 23.5. Like Joe said, the biggest spread of the week. I also think JMU might be going for style points in this one. They want to make a name for themselves, especially ahead of those group of 5 schools that are currently ranked ahead of them in North Texas and Tulane. And they want to sneak themselves into the playoffs because they believe they deserve there. I know JMU fans believe they deserve to be there. So I think they might go for the style points in this one. I have 43-9.
Yeah, I also have JMU winning. I'm going to have them 30-13. In that case, they do not cover. Is that something that the committee looks at? Definitely not. So, but winning big would definitely help their chances.
I wouldn't take it past the committee looking at lines when they're sitting there with 800 papers trying to decide who to put in on this thing and go, you know what, Jamie didn't cover. They're gone. So Braden Wilkins, 2025, quote it, put it on every message board there is. That's what we need to see. But I think this is going to be a beatdown. It's not even going to be a football game. It'll be a nice little, take a nap after work and go watch this one at the CUSA. Brent, tell me about the Owls and the Gamecocks.
Yeah, Kennesaw State, they come in at 9-3. Joe was telling me before the podcast that this is their best season, apparently. I did not know that. I'll be honest, guys, not the biggest Kennesaw State fan in the room here. They're playing Jacksonville State at Jacksonville State. Again, it's in Arkansas. It's in Arkansas, not Florida. They come in at 8-4.
It's confusing.
This game is going to be on Friday night at 7 p.m., as I said, in Jacksonville, Alabama. The betting lines, Kennesaw State is favored by 2.5. The over-under is set at 59.5, and I have Jacksonville State winning this one 31-27.
Very nice. Brady?
Yeah, I also got Jacksonville State 21, Kennesaw State to 17. Shutting the door on Kennesaw State's dream season, but they are improving and just looking up and moving up in that conference.
Hey man, one of the youngest teams, obviously joining in 2015 in the FCS, and then transitioning over a couple years ago into the FBS. They're doing what they need to do, right? This is what you want to see from the Owls. Everybody in Kennesaw State is pumped to be here. It's a great season for them to have. So can they get it done? Jacksonville State's been here before. They're always here. It's them and typically Western Kentucky who fell off the face of the earth. They didn't have Bailey Zappi. I don't know what else to say. But this one, guys, I'd like everyone out there to know I had my notes in first, so everyone has copied me on both games so far. But I also have Jacksonville State winning a close one here. So I think this will be a fun battle because everybody loves some group of 5 play on a Friday night. Get it one more time, get that itch for the season. Wow. Braden, are you going green or green? I got to know which green.
The biggest game of Friday night. This is the one you're going to be watching. I'm sorry, Kennesaw State and Jacksonville State. When this game kicks off at 8 o'clock, it's getting switched over immediately. It's the American Championship in Yulman Stadium in New Orleans, Louisiana. This is going to be a fun one. This one has huge implications for the Group of 5 bid in the college football playoffs. JMU is the only team in their way, them in the Sun Belt. But one of these two teams, the winner has a really good chance at getting in there and vying for the Group of 5. North Texas is favored by 2.5, and the over-under is set at 66.5.
Highest of the weekend.
Yep. Both of these teams have great offenses, and sparks definitely fly in this American matchup. I'm going to have North Texas continuing to put up the most points in the country, 41, Tulane 30. So North Texas gets the win there. And I think that's enough to get them in. If they win 41-30, I think they do it.
I'm going to concur right there with you, Braden. This North Texas team, Eric Morris wants to go out with a bang. Drew Mestonmaker is the best quarterback freshman in the country. Who knows where he's going next fall to play football, but I'll let us talk more about that when we dive into North Texas a little more. I have UNT 35-24, and Braden, I think it's enough as well, considering the fact that we have the ranking already ahead of JMU.
Yeah, I went a different direction here. I really like what Tulane's doing this season. Still think it's going to be an extremely high-scoring game, especially with that over-under and the fact that both of these offenses are extremely hot in the group of five. But I really love John Summerall. Obviously, know that he's leaving for bigger and better things, but I think he goes out with a bang. I have 40-37 for Tulane.
When was the last time you had two head coaches in a conference championship that already had jobs lined up? Can we get a fact check on that? That's crazy. That's absolutely bonkers to me.
The way the calendar's working, man.
So dude, it was so funny to me because I was just watching like John Summerall, and you see him give the post-game presser last week. He's on a plane giving the presser in all Florida gear. And then 20 minutes later, he's back in New Orleans wearing all Tulane gear again. And I'm like, what is happening here?
He's living a double life.
Yep, it's John Summerall and Son Jummerall. Just play in both games. But heading over to the Mountain Brain, what are you talking about? You don't want to watch Ashton Genty and company and Anthony Calendria?
Well,
the greatest UVA quarterback of all time when it comes to the word green hitting the turf. He's had a year though, so we'll give him that much. But absolutely. But UNLV and Boise State felt like it was going to be this way the whole way. Really weird that UNLV had to. It was like a coin flip or some data analytical model was the reason they were in when it comes to the actual conference breakdown. But an 8-4 Boise State, they will be playing this field on blue. Over there in Boise, Idaho at Albertson Stadium. Excuse me, from previous, there are 4 games on Friday night, another one there at 8 p.m. So, YouTube TV helping you out 75% of the year here when watching college football. But Boise is at -4. The over-under is at 58.5. This one for me, Dan Mullen has done a fantastic job with this program in year one. And again, a name that should be spinning everywhere. That we haven't even mentioned that could easily be a top hire anywhere around the globe. So be watching for that. Obviously has one more game to play after this with the bowl game. Neither of these teams being talked about for getting in the college football playoff. But Boise State set the precedent last season, so they get to have fun with it. I've got UNLV 28-21. I just don't think Boise State has the firepower this year without Michael Myers in the backfield.
Yeah, I'm right there with you, Joe. Obviously, losing Ashton Genty was a huge fall off for the Boise State Broncos. I went in a similar direction. I'm going UNLV 30, Boise State 28. And I just searched Dan Mullen's name on Google, and the top article is Penn State, swallow your pride and call Dan Mullen to save this disaster. And I agree.
Yeah, that's not a bad idea. Joe, I have the exact same score as you, but I'm going to flip it. I think Boise State's going to win this game 28-21. They may not be representing the group of 5 in the playoffs this year like they were last year. Bit of a down year for them, but they're still going to take the conference at 8-4.
Nope. It's just not happening. It's okay, Braden. We'll try again next year. But that's going to be another fun one to watch. At some point, you'll have all 4 going on your screen. So, Braden, thanks for letting me use your YouTube TV again. So, I didn't say that out loud on YouTube, right? I probably just lost my access, but it's okay. It's whatever. Brent, Big 12. Let's talk about some matchups having impact for Sunday's decision.
Yeah, we already talked about Sataki a little bit, the BYU head coach. But BYU comes in at 11-1, yet only ranked 11th in the college football playoff rankings, which honestly I agree with. If you look at their schedule and just some of those games they've played so far this year, Texas Tech also comes in at 11-1, but the thing we need to remember is they've already played each other less than a month ago, and Texas Tech completely destroyed BYU 29-7 on November 8th. So this one is huge for BYU. The betting lines favor Texas Tech. Obviously, they're favored 12.5. The over-under is 49.5. And this Texas Tech defense is a problem. Ranked very, very highly. It is ranked number 3 in scoring defense, number 1 in defensive stop rate, and number 4 in defensive success rate. So that is huge for a Big 12 team. Obviously, when you think about those numbers, you think about Big 10, you think about SEC schools. You don't think about the Big 12, but props to what Texas Tech has done in the portal, props to what they've done in recruiting the past couple years. They've been huge this year, and I think they have a shot to win it all. I am going Texas Tech 27, BYU 10.
Yeah, I'm going to jump in. I have a Texas Tech 24 and BYU 20. So a bit closer than it was last game, but Texas Tech is still going to take it home.
Yeah, I look at just everything about here, and you guys probably saw the Texas Tech rebrand, right? With that logo, and although that rebrand is just terrible, these teams are incomparable. Texas Tech is going to blow them out 28-13. It's going to be another one of these, in my opinion, and that's nothing on Bear Backmeyer, which is the coolest quarterback name there is, yet the worst number there is.
It's 47, right?
Yeah, it's disgusting. I don't know what it's for, but I haven't read up too much on that for Bear Backmeyer. But I'll get into it a little more, talking about BYU and why this is going to happen when we dive into each of these 18 teams with a fielder's chance of getting in. But who cares about anything else on Saturday? We've got the MAC. Braden, tell me about the biggest game of the weekend.
Starting your day off on Saturday nice with some action. Miami, Ohio is 7-5, and Western Michigan is 8-4. This is a nice little appetizer for the slate that is on Saturday, and for some of us, it may even be the main course because we love the MAC.
Yep. I'm in. I'm right
Western Michigan is favored by 2.5 with the over/under set at 43.5. I have Miami of Ohio winning this game 38-24, taking home the MAC championship.
Unbelievable. Aiden Hutchinson, Michigan guy, put the word Western in front. They know how to play at Ford Field this weekend over there. Give me the Broncos 27-20. It should be a fun one.
I'm right there with you. We're gonna bite some kneecaps off. We're playing in the dome. It's a Dan Campbell.
I'm like, we're pulling the NFL references out, Braden. That's all we have for Mac.
Maction is all about biting kneecaps. I'm going Western Michigan 23, Miami, Ohio 20.
I will say we may not see as much scoring in this one because these teams are not used to playing on a Saturday. So they could be a little hungover from not playing 3 days beforehand. So maybe they're scrimmaging the Detroit Lions 3 days before to get them going. That's what I want to see. I guess we can go to this one. I mean, yawn after having to talk about the MAC. Bulldogs, Crimson Tide, 2 years in a row. These two familiar foes faced off earlier in the season. Alabama got the better of them. This is a game that they don't want the Pat McAfee tricks. They just want to win, is the Georgia Bulldogs. And first of all, why is game day going here over Lucas Oil? It's not like the number 1 and number 2 countries or teams in the country are playing.
I have an opinion on it, but I'll get to it when I.
All right. I appreciate you for that.
I get to mine.
I thought I had to get there, but Obviously, playing in Mercedes-Benz Stadium in Atlanta, Georgia, probably the craziest stadium I've ever been to in my life. That thing is massive. It was awesome. It was a fun time. And who knew how our season would change from our young, hopeful faces down there in August. But UGA is 2.5-point favorites, is the Bulldogs. Over-under set at a measly 47.5. This game is going to be all the action. It's everything you want. It's just, can it happen for the Bulldogs? Alabama's had their number. Does Alabama need to win this one to get in? We'll talk about that in a minute. But I just think this Alabama offense, they're coming in with a little more bite. They just had a tune-up game in the Iron Bowl where they kind of got knocked in the face a little bit with a fourth down conversion. That's why they're in the playoffs, right? According to the committee, they like that for some reason, beating an inferior opponent by one score, but that's neither here nor there. This is going to be gritty. The SEC championship is always one of the best games of the year. Give me Bama 27-26. I think they repeat. They got more offensive firepower.
Yeah, I'm right there with you, Joe. I feel like Bama is one of those teams for whatever reason. I don't know if it's Kalen DeBoer. I don't know what it is, but they play down to their opponents. You saw that week 1 against Florida State. But they seem to get up for these big games, especially late in the season, especially the SEC championship. I think they're going to do it again. I think they're going to beat Georgia again. I have Alabama 24, Georgia 20.
Yeah, I think Georgia's going to get their lick back from earlier in the season. I think this team, they're going to split. So it's going to be very similar, but this time Georgia's going to win it 28-21.
And we will, when we talk about the teams, we're going to get into what a split means here. I have no idea. I do not envy the College Football Playoff Committee. I'm just going to say that straight up. They are wrong no matter what they do this weekend. It's impossible. They're going to be wrong. They're going to be wrong. One game they don't really have to worry about and they can't mess up as much. Brent, tell me about the showdown at 1 and 2 at Lucas Oil.
Yep, and that's exactly what I was going to get at in your point, Joe. I feel like this game, yes, 12-0 Indiana at Ohio State, 12-0. It looks perfect on paper, but in the college football playoff rankings, I don't think it means crap unless Indiana wins, and then it would just be a shift from 1 to 2.
Yep,
that's all it would be. I don't think Indiana can fall below 2. I don't think Ohio State can fall below 2. Just personally, unless Indiana gets completely embarrassed, which I personally don't see happening. The bookies don't think that's happening either. Ohio State is only favored by 4. The over-under is set at 47.5, and Ohio State, they're the best team in the country. I even think this year's team is better than last year's team. I have Ohio State 27, Indiana 24.
Yeah, I got an interesting one here. I think Ohio State's going to win 28-27. I'm calling my shot here. I think Indiana scores late and goes for 2 to try to get the win and snag the 1 seed and just falls short.
I like that, Braden. That'd be interesting.
Wow. I have a differing opinion here. I would love to talk about the Heisman a little bit. We need to compare past quarterback Heismans to the hype Fernando Mendoza is getting. Doesn't he have 3,000 yards passing? I'm not saying he's not good. Not saying that at all.
I think it's under 3,000. I think it's 2,800 something.
I'm just going to be quiet for a minute. I have the Buckeyes all day, every day. This Hoosiers team is not as fake as they were last season. But again, in my opinion, you talk about who the Hoosiers have played this season. Obviously, a huge win against Oregon is their best one, maybe their only one now. With that Penn State game, they had some competition in the Big 12. They did avoid a couple of really good contests that we see Indiana seem to do year after year. So Cignetti has them battle tested. The problem is they haven't been tested in battle. This is going to be their first major one right here for the Hoosiers. I have Ohio State 34. Indiana 20, respectable, but still losing by 2 scores. Ryan Tay is just on a tangent this season. He finally just won the game, and he could have done every single thing possible to throw it back in Michigan's face. and he took it with humility. And that is not the Ryan Day anybody knows. So that's even more terrifying when it comes to the Buckeyes. This team is complete. I don't think anybody compares with them at all.
Yeah, he won the big one, and now he's just never going to lose again.
No. But they wanted to fire him too, by the way.
It's so stupid.
He won the national championship, and people still wanted him gone. So I'm wondering what they're saying now. Probably that he didn't win by 40, but whatever. Oh boy, Braden, this is embarrassing.
Yeah, rough year for the ACC. Not great here. We talked about some ACC chaos prior to last week's games, and we got some of it. SMU looked like they were going to be a shoo-in, but they dropped the game against Cal 38-35, allowing Duke to sneak in. We've seen this matchup before this season already, and in that game, UVA played at Duke and won 34-17. So now this game is in Charlotte on a neutral site. It's surprising that the lines are so close. UVA is favored by 3.5. The over-under is 57.5. This game does have some implications for the college football playoffs, not so much for Duke. They're really just looking to play spoiler and kick Virginia out of it. Somehow, some way, what happens if Duke wins? I don't know, because it's not going to. UVA is going to win 22-21, unfortunately.
You don't want that chaos, Braden.
I would love it. I would love it.
I'm right there with you, Braden. I think UVA is going to win 27-21. I do think they're a better team than Duke. But, I've just seen time after time how ACC referees operate. And in my opinion, if Duke does win this game, we will have 2 group of 5 teams, and there is no way in heck, I'm not going to mention any names, but we all know who I'm talking about, is going to let that happen. So, the penalties may be even at the end of the game, but if UVA gets those 4th and 5 calls, in the 50s, and Duke gets, that penalty inside their own 20 to match it up, just watch the refs if you don't want to watch this game on Saturday. We'll see, but you have to give the credit to Tony Elliott. You have to give the credit to UVA and Chandler Morris. They have been fantastic this season. That offense is elite. They're electric. They have one of the best run games in the ACC. Do I think they'll be great in the college football playoff? I don't really know. Probably not. Brent shaking his head over there as well, going up against an SEC team. But game has to respect game. It was the least eventful Commonwealth Clash I've ever watched this past Saturday, and you have to respect the game that Chandler Morris has and the story that kid has as well, starting at Oklahoma, North Texas, and here at UVA. So I have UVA 27-21, but I would love to see Duke win for more than one reason, but chaos sounds fun.
Yeah, I want the chaos, boys, and I'm doing it. I'm going Duke 27, UVA 21. Obviously, Braden brought up the matchup earlier this year, but UVA, I just feel like they're kind of streaky sometimes. They lost to NC State. They lost to Wake. You don't know which team is going to show up at any given time, and I feel like they are exploitable, and I think Duke can beat them despite their 5 losses, because Duke is another team that I feel like can be kind of streaky at some points, because common opponent, if we're doing the common opponent thing that these college football playoff committees do, they beat NC State. So it's possible if you use the transitive property, it is possible.
We're just not doing the head-to-head where they embarrass Duke, or we're just avoiding
we're
that.
Just skipping that.
Okay. So you're thinking like the college football playoff committee.
Yes.
Okay,
yes.
Cool. That's all I needed to hear.
We'll get into those conversations.
Yeah,
Miami
if that does happen,
Notre Dame.
We'll talk about that later. Anyway, if that does happen, I feel like the committee doesn't get much sleep the Saturday night into Selection Sunday morning, but they're going to need an extra pot of coffee or 6 if that happens. They're going to have the work cut out for them.
Yep. Again, I don't envy the job. I'm going to complain about whatever it is because I'm a college football fan. And I have the right to do that, and I have no horse in the race to be upset about. But I'll tell you what, we're going to dive in. Don't worry, we'll save it. We're going to dive into why every team has a right to be upset and why they don't. We will play both sides of the coin there for you. So stick around here, but we are going to go into a fan favorite segment here right before we jump into the 18 teams that, have a slugger's chance to get into the college football playoff 12 teams this year. And we'll talk about exactly how that works. But first, a fan favorite. Gentlemen, you think about this time of year, right? And you're probably thinking Christmas. Well, that's true. What do people do for Christmas? There's no wrong answer. Just start saying things.
Decorate.
Okay.
Gingerbread house.
Okay. But how do you? Okay. Kelby is correct. She got the word right. My beautiful wife got the word right. People travel for Christmas, right? So you can travel for Christmas, but you can also travel to bowl games. So let's go hand in hand with these two, right? Talking about travel. You need the traveling essentials. And you can't have a great road trip without the blind top 10 best road trip snacks.
I like it. It's a good one.
It's facts.
Road trip snacks.
I'm hyped.
I'm going to get this set up. I have no idea which one of you it is.
I'm pretty sure it's me.
We need to have a counter.
Braden, take the rock.
All right, let's do it.
Braden is taking the rock. I like it. 1 second here. Got to make sure you don't see my notes. Because that would be cheating, and you can't cheat on the top 10.
So I'm wondering, are we just including snacks here? Are we throwing some beverages in there? You said snacks, so I'm thinking just some munchies.
You thinking just some munchies?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if I'm supposed to tell you that or not.
I feel like there's drinks now. I feel like you would have told us if there
Straight up, you just would have said no.
Here, let me ask my wife if I should tell them. She's watching, so my beautiful wife is watching. Should I tell them if there are drinks on here or not? Kelby has already played the top 10. She is ready to judge. So, just hold. Think about what might be on this list here. We need to get like a branded top 10 list instead of this spreadsheet. She said never, so you're not going to get to know. All right. Here at number 1, no hints for Braden. And again, this is your interpretation of things, right? So some things on this list have different varieties. But at number 1, your direct interpretation, Braden, of the Pringle.
The Pringle. Okay. Depends on if you're driving or not is the first thing that comes to mind after flavor. So I guess the second thing that comes to mind. If you're driving, you got to reach into the can over on the right. And
you're a passenger in all these scenarios.
Oh, you're a passenger. Okay.
You're a passenger. Mom and dad are driving.
I like it. Pringles are a quality chip. You do have the cans, so you're not going to have trash and bags littered everywhere. You might have some crumbs, which I project might be the case with like all of these. But I'm gonna put them at number 4 here.
That was the most detailed thing I've ever heard about Pringles in my life.
Thanks.
I appreciate the analysis that you're taking this seriously. So thank you, Braden. At number 2, this may not be a fan favorite candy, but it is a fan favorite candy on the road. It's great to share. It's the Twizzler.
I do like a good Twizzler. And honestly, it's like one of the lower fat candies that you can eat. It's like a healthy candy almost, but it's still good. It's just licorice, guys. It's good. With that being said, it's not top tier by any means. And I'd probably rank Pringles ahead of it. I think I'm going to go a little bit safer here. I'm going to put it at 7.
Putting it at 7 for the Twizzler. All right. At number 3. Ooh, Braden. Braden, I know you're a fan of these. You got the Slim Jim.
Slim Jim. It's a good one. That's a good one. You need some protein maybe on your road trip. You got options with those too. You got cheese filled. You got like the long ones. You got the smaller ones, the snack size ones. I am a fan, but I think there are some better options. I'm gonna put it at 6 here. I'm sure that shocks you, but
I'm the monster Slim Jim guy. You know me.
Mm-hmm.
I like the big one. At number 4, an instant classic. Maybe not our generation's taste, but you got the trail mix.
I know that maybe our generation doesn't like it as much, but I personally love it. I think the saltiness of the nuts with the M&M chocolate with the raisins, I personally really like it. I know that might not be a popular opinion among our generation, but and Braden might even disagree, but I'll put it at 5. I think there's 3 that are ahead, but I'm going to put it above Slim Jim, above Twizzler.
I'm with you, Brent. I'm a big trail mix fan. Sometimes you get some pretzels in there, which adds to the saltiness, which is I'm a big fan. So
Joe's laughing like the whole time, so I feel like we're doing this entirely wrong.
My phone is blowing up. Someone said top 10 over.
Oh my god!
I won't name any names.
Hey, we've been conservative. We've taken the middle out.
I'll say this: I don't mind a trail mix, but it's not my snack of choice. But this is a difficult one as well because there are a lot of snacks on here.
True.
At number 5, we have the sour gummy worm.
I'm a big fan. Huge fan. I'm a big fan of sour candy in general, so this really plays to my strengths here. I'm gonna put it at 3. I love them.
Put it at 3.
We're playing maybe a little too conservative here, but it's fine.
We always tend to do this. We gray out the middle, and then we have the top and the bottom left.
Mm-hmm.
At number 6, again, your interpretation of it, Brent. You have the goldfish.
Oh man, top tier, and I guess you don't call it a chip; it's more of a cracker. But the flavor, I mean, it doesn't matter if you go classic, if you go the extreme cheddar, the pizza, they're all freaking amazing. And I can't put it at 8, 9, or 10. I don't know if I can put it at 1 or not. I don't know what's coming up. I'm gonna put it. Screw it. I'm putting it at 1. Goldfish is top tier.
Goldfish is top 2, and it's not 2. That's all I'm saying.
That's a good call.
Very well done, Brent. Round of applause. That's a hard pick. Especially with what's next, Brayden. You have beef jerky.
Beef jerky. Shoot. It is a classic, but I think I'm going to have to put it low here. I think I might switch it up with the Slim Jims. At some point.
I'm fine with it, Braden.
Yeah. I don't know which slot to put it in, though. I think I'm gonna go 9.
Wow. I can't believe that just happened.
I like beef jerky, but it's not like I'm not clamoring for it usually. Like it's not usually my go-to. I don't need it. Like it's like it is what it is. I have it sometimes. It's good, but it's not amazing.
I feel like when I do get it, I can never eat the whole bag. Like with these other snacks, I can just go to town on them and just keep eating. But at a certain point with beef jerky, you're just like, I can't eat this anymore.
The one thing I will say about beef jerky is level of happiness versus level of cost. If I buy a bag of goldfish versus if I buy a bag of beef jerky is at 2 for me, first of all. If we continue this on, I'm not agreeing with your statement at all, but I'm talking about price value of money, right? With that portion. So, beef jerky is expensive, but it is good. It is good. At number 8, back over to you, Brent, is the mini Oreo.
Ooh, yeah, this cannot go at 8 or 10. Oreos are top tier. One of the best like chain cookies that you can get, probably the best, honestly. I gotta put it at 2.
Mini Oreos are pretty good. Braden, not much of a pick here, but you're solidifying your 10 or your 8. Kind of terrifying. You have combos.
Combos. Ooh, those are fun. A lot of different flavors. And I feel like you only get those on a road trip. They're staples at gas stations. I think they got to go 8, just out of respect, and terrified at what we left for number 10.
I love the pizza combos. Those are my personal favorite.
What do you guys think is at 10?
I don't know. Because like this is such a broad range. I feel like you could put anything on this list.
I'm gonna go with like some sort of candy. We got, I think, 3 candies on here right now.
If you count mini Oreos, yeah.
Yeah. I'm going with some. Oh, okay.
Oh yes.
No, you gotta have a little healthy snack. You gotta have the granola bar on there.
I mean, beef jerky might deserve a little bit higher than 9, but we had to go with what we had. And I agree with you, Braden. I would not have put it at 2. I think the list is solid. I think we did a good job.
I'm right.
Beef jerky needs to be up there with me, but your top 3 are correct if you add that.
I personally love the top 3 that we have. Yep. Like I would rank it exactly like that too. Personally,
I'm very happy.
As long as you guys are happy with being wrong, sometimes it's okay. Thanks for hanging out here as another Blind Top 10. Hey, if you have any ideas of what you maybe want to see coming forward, feel free, hit us in the comments. Let us know. We're happy to do so. I'm running out of things if you can't tell because can't do food every week. I mean, it makes me hungry and I don't have food in front of me. So, long podcast, need a snack. An honorable mention on there. There were 2. Was Cheez-Its was one of them, but I feel like you compete with Goldfish putting that up there. And then, I thought about my mom on this one. It's a nice cup of fruit. Nice for the healthy drive, But thanks for hanging out with us here at Blind Top 10. We know we'll see you next week. We'll be back at 7 o'clock next week, not at your late shift. But let's go ahead and dive into the college football playoff. We've got 18 teams that have a shot at it. There are a couple in here that really don't, but they are going to be funny to talk about. So we put them in there anyways. But we'll be brief on a couple of these. Number 1, I'll kick us off here, boys. Ohio State Buckeyes, number 1 team in the nation. Win it. Brent, you took the words right out of my mouth. Win in 1 seed, lose in 2 seed. That's it. Yep. Ryan Day and company has this in the bag. He does want to go win a Big Ten championship. I think it's been 2019 since that happened for Ryan Day last, or maybe even not at all. It's been a long time, fellas, for the Buckeyes to win this one. So they want this one bad against Indiana. They won't take this game lightly, wanting to go to 13-0, get the bye. But, having the bye hasn't always prevailed for teams that we saw last season. They all lost in the college football playoff with byes last season, but should be a fun one. Buckeyes 100% in the college football playoff. Julian saying, give that kid the Heisman. That's all I got to say. Let's go over to their opponent down in Indiana.
Yeah, this one also not too much to talk about. Go undefeated, you're obviously in. That has changed since the 12-team playoff has been initiated. But their biggest win is at number 5, Oregon. They won 30-20, and they have no losses. So can't do much better than that. They're the number 2 scoring offense in the nation with 44.3 points per game. Behind their Heisman favorite quarterback, Fernando Mendoza. The defense is also number 2 in the country behind only Ohio State, their opponent in the conference championship game. They're allowing just 10.92 points per game. They have a point differential of plus 401, which is by far the best in the country. They're obviously firmly in the playoffs and have no doubt secured a first-round bye. But they still have to take on Ohio State in the conference championship game. I did have a question. Brent, I think you already answered it earlier when you were talking about this game. If Indiana loses and Texas Tech and Georgia both win their title games, does Indiana drop to 3 or 4?
I don't think so. It's an Ohio State loss. Like that's the only thing on their resume, and Ohio State's the best team in the nation. Like I truly just don't see any scenario unless they get beat by like 20 or more.
I was going to say, if they get blown out by like 30 and Georgia wins and Texas Tech wins, I still think only Georgia jumps them, in my opinion there.
I like that. I think that's fair.
But No, Indiana could if they get blown out. Yes, it depends on we could silence the Heisman conversation on Saturday. The top two guys in odds are going head to head. Just give it to the winner. I think it's that simple. Could be fun. Let's go over to Georgia.
Yeah, not going to spend too much time on Georgia since we already touched on them a little bit, but obviously a couple key things to know. That Georgia Tech win last week actually gives them some breathing room. Their only loss all season was a 3-point game against Alabama back in late September. So obviously you have that rematch coming up with the SEC championship. Lose there again to the Tide. They're still safely in the 12-team playoff. Might not have the bye at that point. In fact, they probably wouldn't at that point, in my opinion. But with Georgia, they do have some questions as well. They're outside the top 10 in both offensive and defensive efficiency. They've trailed in several games this year, and they don't always pass the eye test. Just personally watching a few games this season, they usually win the game, but it doesn't always look pretty. And I think that's a testament to Kirby Smart more than anything. But quarterback Gunnar Stockton, last week especially, terrible. 11 for 21, just 70 yards and a pick. Somehow still won the game handedly. But there's reason for concern with Gunnar Stockton, especially going into the playoffs. So obviously they're safely in it, but the question is whether or not they get a bye, and that will depend on the SEC championship outcome this weekend.
Yep. Yeah, Georgia's in even with the loss. I know some Bulldogs fans were scared about having to play in the SEC championship. They weren't even supposed to have to if teams did their job. So Georgia's in, so we'll see what happens there with the Bulldogs. But a huge resume building game and tune-up game for them this weekend. Texas Tech is interesting. Now, they're the 4 seed, and you're going to see 5, 6, and 7 at 100%, right? They're at 99.9%. Here's the reason. There's a BYU team that's 11-1. Funny enough, I will talk about BYU later, so I won't get full into them and their resume. That Arizona State loss is staring them in the face. It was just a bad one to drop. It was good for them that it was at ASU. It was 26-22 there on October 18th. But then they responded, right? They had that 29-7 win over BYU. That's their biggest. They beat number 21 Houston. Again, this is their ranks when they played them. Houston is still ranked 35-11. And then they beat Utah 34-10. Like, all those games look fantastic at the end of the day. That's 3 ranked wins, whether they were ranked at the time or not. That's neither here nor there, and the College Football Committee has said that. Do you take into factor the ranking when they played? Yes, they do. And yes, they also don't. So it's kind of a fine balance. They have to kind of play both sides of the coin there, right? Texas Tech is at 99.9%, and I'm going to play the bad side of the coin. You go out to a BYU team that is pumped. They just extended their coach. You lose by 40. Everyone behind you wins in huge fashion, and now you're a 2-loss Big 12 team. We've seen the swap happen before. It's a little different. I don't think it's possible. I think Texas Tech is going to be in regardless, but boy, would that make some chaos if BYU just stomped them on Saturday. I told you we're going to play both sides of the coins here, but take me over to the West Coast in Eugene.
Yeah, the Ducks are 11-1. Their biggest wins are at number 23, Iowa, 18-16. They won that one. And they also beat number 16, USC at home, 42-27. So a stomping there against USC. Their only loss against the number 2 team in the country in Indiana, 30-20. Oregon has the number 9 scoring offense and the number 9 scoring defense in the country. They've scored 38.2 points per game and allowed 14.8 points per game. They have a point differential of plus 280. While their marquee wins aren't exactly jaw-dropping, overall they have the 16th toughest schedule in the country according to strength of schedule, and that's the 5th hardest of the 18 teams that we will talk about and the hardest non-SEC schedule. So they did what they had to do, and they won some pretty tough games. They're sitting pretty comfortably here at number 5. Worst case, they will take on the group of 5 representative in the first round. So should be an easy win for them. Best case, if Texas Tech or Georgia lose, they could potentially see a bye week and slip into the 4 or 3 spot. Either way, this Oregon team is going to have a good draw and could make a run.
Yeah, I 100% agree. They, if Georgia loses, I fully believe they drop to 5.
Mm-hmm.
But Oregon and Dan Lanning is licking his chops at this one. Down to Oxford. The Florida State fans look away for a minute. We're going to talk about losing somebody and still being in the college football playoff. Obviously a much different story, but it's comedy a little bit that you lose your head coach, you go up a spot, you lose your star quarterback, you go down a spot. So that tells you what the committee thinks between coaching and your star quarterback. So Florida State fans, just look away for a little bit. Ole Miss, they're in 100%. There's no more games to be played. There's no way they're falling out. They've had some incredible wins over the season, but really I could dive deep into their schedule and talk about it, but none of it really matters anymore. It's the fact that this is a great SEC team that is in, but they have lost their captain at the wheel. If you are the 11th seed, UVA, North Texas, JMU, you want this matchup going into a ticked off Oxford fan base, a rattled play calls every which way. Your offensive coordinator is back, I guess, went on the plane, came back. Not sure how Trinidad's going to feel about that one, that he decided to come back or was told to come back. I don't know the full story of it. But when a team misses the captain, the ship typically sinks with the captain. This time it's going to probably sink without it. If you're UVA, if you're Tulane, North Texas, JMU, whoever that 11-12 is going to be, possibly even Notre Dame, right? This is the team you want to go play 100%. But it also could be the team you really don't want to play going to a ticked off fan base in one of the hardest places to play in the Grove. So interesting to see what the Rebels do. But take me down to College Station. Talk about a drop.
Real quick, I do want to expand on that. Joe, you mentioned the other side of the coin. Yeah, I don't know how much play calling is actually going to matter in that first round matchup. Obviously, losing Lane Kiffin is a huge blow, but these players are going to be pissed. They're going to be angry, and they're going to be playing with fire to show that they can win without him. So I think they're going to be angry and can just blow through that first round matchup regardless of the coaching.
Sometimes playing with too much emotion is not a good thing, Braden.
This is fair.
You get sloppy. You try to hit somebody instead of tackle them correctly.
Mm-hmm. And they still have the true leader of the helm, Joe Judge.
Yeah.
Get out of here.
Hey, he helped Jackson Dart tremendously. Great quarterback coach.
Yes, he is. College Station. Talk about a drop, Brent. It's only right you get your favorite team.
Yeah. Next up is Texas A&M, currently sitting at number 7. They're one of the trickier resumes for the committee right now. As Joe mentioned, dropped quite a bit to number 7. But here's why the Aggies are where they are. They've only got one win over a college football playoff top 25 team, that 41-40 thriller at Notre Dame back in September. That win carried a lot of weight early, but it's obviously not good enough to keep them inside the top 4. Out of the SEC teams, they fall behind Georgia and Ole Miss. The Bulldogs simply have better wins. They destroyed Texas, which was a common opponent, and they have the more respectable loss to Alabama. They even fell behind Texas Tech and Oregon, as we've mentioned, especially with Oregon ranking top 5 nationally in both offensive and defensive efficiency. But for now, the Aggies are done on the field. They've done what they could at this point. They've been eliminated from the SEC title game, so all they can do is wait and maybe hope that Alabama squeezes out a win. Maybe that drives some more chaos there. But honestly, I don't think there's going to be too much more movement for Texas A&M with their ranking unless, like I said, Alabama pulls off a miraculous upset, which isn't totally out of the cards. The spread isn't that big.
Yeah, I think, and we'll get into Bama a little bit more actually. So we'll save that. We'll save that point for Braden to cover. This is kind of the last team, in my opinion, that is safe here with the Oklahoma Sooners. Again, can't play another game. Sitting at 99.9% because you never really know what the committee's going to do. So, I mean, they should be safe. They're at number 8. They can technically drop 2 more spots and still be safe with the at-large bid still remaining. But this is where we start the conversation, obviously being the last team to host. And hosting can mean a lot in the college football playoff. Every team that hosted in the first round last year won, and then every team that was waiting lost. So this tune-up home field advantage playoff game means everything. Has an 100% hit rate to get you to the semifinals, so it really does mean a lot. Again, that's some pretty skewed data because we've done one season of it. But the reason, and people are comparing Oklahoma and Texas, people are comparing Oklahoma and everybody else. The reason the Sooners are in the playoff doesn't have to do with their loss to Texas, which was a bad loss at the time, but now they're the number 13 team in the country. John Mateer played horrific in that football game. He had just come back from a surgery that should have kept him out 3 more weeks. That has shown a lot. They competed with a great Ole Miss team in Norman. They lost that one by 1 score. And then you look at their wins, and this is the reason they're in the college football playoff. Not only did they schedule Michigan, they beat them. Michigan is a great non-conference game. Instead of scheduling UMass to come in here and play in Norman, they scheduled Michigan and beat them convincingly. They went to Knoxville and they beat them. They went to Tuscaloosa and they beat them. And then they hosted a good Missouri team at the time and beat them. If you walk into Knoxville and Tuscaloosa and win with your quarterback playing poorly, throwing interceptions, I think you're going to be okay in the college football playoff. That is why this Brent Venables team, and I've spoken about John Mateer. The Sooners have the best defense in the country, and I say that point blank, wide open, non-biased. Jackson Arnold knows it. Every quarterback they've played has known it. This team gets in the backfield, and they get pick sixes left and right. Watch out. This team has everything. The offense needs to step up. Interested to see if the Sooners are in, but the question is this. Are they going to get home field advantage in week 1? The testament is to tell in that SEC championship game, and they will be watching that one closely. And does the committee find an Alabama win in the SEC championship bigger than the head-to-head win for Oklahoma? Question to be told. Braden, over to you for your thoughts on that with the Crimson Tide.
Yeah, switching over to Bama, they're 10-2. Their wins, massive. At Georgia, number 3 team in the country, 24-21, and versus number 14 Vanderbilt, who beat them last year, 30-14. Vanderbilt is a great team, and they looked even better at the time. Their losses, Joe mentioned the loss against Oklahoma, 23-21. That's a quality loss, as the committee would like to say. The loss at Florida State in week 1, 31-17, is a bad one. But since then, they've recovered. They looked great. Kalen DeBoer has saved his job, at least for now. They have the 26th best scoring offense in college football at 33.2 points per game, led by quarterback Ty Simpson and his wealth of receivers. They had the number 11 scoring defense in the country, allowing just 16.5 points per game. They also had the 11th hardest schedule in the entire country and second toughest of the teams that we'll talk about today. The big question is this SEC championship game. They play in it against Georgia on Saturday. Georgia's looking to get revenge, and that's what I think is going to happen. I think Georgia wins, as we talked about earlier, and that brings up a question and a potential follow-up. If they do lose, could that kick them out? We'll start there.
No, in my
This
opinion,
percentage says no.
First of all, these are ESPN calculated and data analytic tool, whatever they have posted up, that I directly took this stuff from, besides the ones you'll see for Texas and Vanderbilt that were not featured later on for the odds here. My opinion is no. I understand they have 3 losses, but in the Big Ten and the SEC, you can't really put the ACC in the conversation, or the Big 12. In the SEC and the Big Ten, they will always have 2+ teams. Likely 9 times out of 10, unless the SEC goes sicko mode one year and gets 11, which isn't even mathematically possible. But you know how it works. A hypothetical win for the SEC and all that sort of stuff. You can't punish a team for having to go play this game.
I 100% agree. That's exactly what I was going to say. I was going to say, if you argue that they should be kicked out if they lose, Why should they be punished for making and competing in the SEC Conference Championship? While teams that failed to, Ole Miss, Texas A&M, and Oklahoma are sitting comfortably and don't have to worry about losing a conference championship game. So I completely agree.
Even if they get embarrassed by 50, I don't even think you can kick them out.
I agree.
Which is probably where that 3% is. But like, if you do that, you set the precedent immediately of something like this happening down the line, and the team will opt out and say, we're not playing.
Yeah.
It'll immediately happen.
And that's not good for the sport. The committee won't allow that. You cannot have a team opting out of the SEC championship game just to get into the playoffs to avoid that loss. So we're all on the same page there.
Yep. But I don't even think they're allowed to do that, but just saying that, like, they could play the quote of, okay, well, they're not going to let us do this. We're going to play every single bench player we have.
Right.
So, but that's where you start the conversation, right? And Brent, you get to – we went pretty brief through the first 9 teams. This is where debate starts, and Brent, we'll let you take the floor before we all kill each other.
Yeah, I'll try to keep it brief. Notre Dame comes in at number 10 with one of the steadier resumes entering selection weekend, at least according to the committee. They handled Stanford pretty easily last week, while several contenders struggled with unranked teams, and that dominance matters. Against common opponents like Pitt, there's no real separation. Notre Dame won 37-15. Miami won 38-7. So the committee has leaned more on comparing losses rather than that head-to-head win for whatever reason. The Irish dropped 2 games to Miami, as I mentioned, and Texas A&M by a combined 4 points, though. While Miami's loss to SMU looks worse with SMU's late collapse. So that might be the committee's reasoning behind that. Notre Dame, not a total lock, as seen there with the 58% chance to make the playoff. But if the Big 12 produces 2 top 10 teams, say BYU beats Texas Tech, someone in the current top 10 gets squeezed. And the Irish could be that team.
It is.
And it would be. With their season complete, all they can do now is wait and hope that Texas Tech wins, as well as hope that chaos breaks their way. Still, they're about as close to a sure thing as you'll find outside the top 9.
It's
the committee made their decision.
Yep. There's nothing else that can really be said. We'll talk about Miami and all of that here in a second, but you just proved to everybody in the nation that games played on grass do not matter.
Yep.
It's different if this Notre Dame team is a 10-2 SEC team. That is different. Even in a head-to-head matchup, if they lose to Miami and they go through an SEC gauntlet and they go 7-1, then yeah, it makes sense. You could probably put them in ahead of them, comparing on what those losses are. But this is a team that is not in a conference for the 18th millionth year and is going to once again sneak into this stupid college football playoff with their 2 main games that actually meant something. They lost both of them. And heck, they might go compete and shut everybody up, but it's stupid they're here. It's so stupid.
At least they don't have a Northern Illinois loss on their schedule this year.
And they went to the national championship last year, so who are we to say anything, right?
Yeah.
But it's a joke to that Miami. I can't believe I'm saying this. Miami should rightfully be ticked off. Not that they deserve anything after what happened last year. Not that the Hurricanes deserve that. But as the ACC, Miami, and everybody, fan, organization, players, whatever, absolutely mind-boggling this team is in over them. I don't get it. I don't get it at all.
If we're being real, I mean, I kind of wish there was a way Miami could just get the ACC representation, but obviously they're not in contention for that. Can't play in the championship game because they lost too many ACC games. But they are far and away the best ACC team. That's just the eye test. You can clearly see that.
Despite if you look up like the ACC rankings, Duke is 5th. I don't even know what the tiebreaker was. But if you look at the standings, they're 5th in the ACC, but they're playing for the conference championship, and UVA will go the entire ACC play without playing a top 5 team because besides them, of course. So we can talk about eye test all day long, but again, Notre Dame lost to Miami. They have the same record. Miami has played a harder strength of schedule as well. We can add that in there too. And they passed the eye test more than the Fighting Irish do. Not saying, again, Marcus Freeman's one of the greatest head coaches in America. That's obvious and evident. He's been there. He knows how to be there. He knows how to play there, and he could very easily play a 7-10 matchup, heck, against Ole Miss, right? They would get smoked by A&M. I know they already lost to them once, but
I don't know. A&M's defense is not good. If they can get in a shootout, maybe. I like CJ Carr.
This is like the only team besides maybe one other that I knew I was just going to get upset about. And you guys know how I feel about the University of Miami, and the fact that I'm defending that shows how fired up it gets me.
Yeah.
It's stupid. Could you imagine if on Sunday they flip them without anything happening?
That would be awesome.
I think there would be more of a riot, honestly.
Yep. But yeah, that's where that 42 – you hit it right on the head there, Brent. That 42% is coming from this team right here, possibly making an upset, which is a 34% chance for them. This is another team with BYU. I took a full look at their schedule as well of who do BYU fans think they are, thinking that they deserve to be in the conversation of Bama and Oklahoma and these other teams that first of all, Bama and Oklahoma, yes, 10-2, but having the same record as the Aggies, Ole Miss, the Ducks, and think you're on the same scale. I've read Twitter. It's crazy. We can jump into it. Their key win. Do you know how we say key wins for an 11-win program? Their key win was Utah, 24-21 in Provo. They're not making the college football playoff. They are highly ranked at 15 now. And then we talk about it again and again. When they went to Lubbock, they got smoked by Texas Tech. They lost by 22. That wasn't that long ago that happened.
Yep.
These teams are very similar. They play at very similar pace. So unless Bear Backmeyer puts up 47 touchdowns to match his number, I'll be brief. I don't think this Cougars team is a top 12 team. I don't think they win on Saturday. And I think that keeps it pretty simple and brief for Notre Dame fans. Should feel comfortable, but don't feel comfortable until you see it pop on the screen.
Yeah, it's another win and you're in scenario for BYU. If they win, they're in.
100%.
Obviously. But if they lose this game, they're out. I mean, the committee has already made their decision.
Now, if they win and they're not in over Notre Dame, then we all riot.
Yeah.
Then I join BYU Nation in their frustrations of you won the Big 12. Because there's no auto bids for winning the conference championship anymore. Am I correct on that?
It's the top 5.
Yeah, because
highest ranked conference champions.
Yes, correct.
Say it one more time.
Highest ranked conference champions.
Okay.
So if Duke wins, hypothetically, technically, JMU and say North Texas could both make it somehow.
Okay, but if BYU wins, are they automatically in?
I would say so.
Because they won their conference championship. Okay, that makes more sense. Okay, well then that's pretty simple for you. But they could find a way. Who knows? But let's talk about these teams that are looking in, and some of them don't even have a shooter's chance. But we talked about the Hurricanes, Braden. But give me your anger. I'm ready.
Yeah, we're gonna move on to part 2 of that conversation. So for my previous teams, I've discussed the wins first and then the losses. I'm gonna reverse it for Miami, and you know where this is going, but we're just gonna do it this way to have fun. Loss versus Louisville 24-21, and a loss at SMU 26-20 in overtime. Those are not quality losses, according to the committee, which is fine. The ACC has been terrible this year, and Louisville and SMU are middle of the pack ACC teams. But your quality win comes against number 10 Notre Dame, 27-24. But you're below them in the rankings. guys, head to head, it has to mean something. It has to mean something. Why do we play the games? I understand that this game happened early in the season, and Notre Dame has won 10 straight since those first 2 losses. But against who? Who did they play? Joe talked about it.
I don't want to talk about it.
Joe did talk about it. These 2 teams, as Joe mentioned, have a very comparable strength of schedule, very similar resumes, the same record. But none of that should matter when Miami literally won a football game against them this season, this year. That being said, Notre Dame needs to join a conference. That's where we're at.
Well, the funniest part about this, Braden, is not only are they in for losing to a team that's out with all those things you just said, they get their own equal share of the revenue because they're not in a conference for making the college football playoff.
Right? Like,
so they're getting all the money.
Join a conference. So stupid. I'm sorry, Miami, and
they are getting a taste of what happened to us, and I apologize about it. It's awful. You're
just absolutely screwed.
I'm just mad.
Why do we?
I'm not even a Miami guy. They're one of my least favorite teams in America, but football is football.
If this is how you're going to do it, why don't we just start the season in November? Why do we play the football games?
If this is also how we're going to do it, Miami should have just scheduled all bad teams.
Yeah.
Someone else is making that argument, Brent, over there in Austin.
Yeah, Texas is very similar to Miami in this conversation, only they have 3 losses instead of 2, so their resume maybe not as arguable as Miami. But I will make a little bit of a case for them. They own 2 wins over current top 8 teams, so that's really strong in itself there, and likely 3 over top 15 opponents. One of the strongest victory profiles outside the top 10, and the head-to-head over Vanderbilt, and the committee has plenty of reasons to bump them up in these rankings. Their losses are complicated. The 7-point loss to number 1 Ohio State is the closest anyone has come this year. And the Florida loss, while bad, isn't much worse than other contender slip-ups. The committee also won't want to punish Texas for scheduling a heavyweight non-conference game, especially week 1 against Ohio State. That resume reasonably puts Texas around number 13 as we have them here. But like I said, at this point, the committee's already made up their mind. Notre Dame, Miami are currently ahead of them, and there's really nothing they can do to get back in it. Hence, less than 1% chance to make the playoffs. So, Arch Manning, get ready for next year.
Yeah, I do.
Go ahead, Brett.
I do feel for them. I do feel for them. I just think you're never going to have a 3-loss team in this college football playoff. I just don't think that's going to happen.
I remember Texas beat A&M, and I listened to Sarkisian's full speech, and I texted you guys right after of what he said, because he said the correct things, right? But he did it in a way of like talking about Ohio State, and it's like, if we went to Columbus and we barely lost, like that is a true statement. But the committee is not leaving you out because you lost to Ohio State. They left you out because you lost to a 3-8 Florida team.
Yeah.
That is the dead. If you're 10-2 and you win that Florida game, this is a whole different ballpark. You're likely in. I'm gonna even say you're in. You're probably in over Notre Dame at that point. You're ahead of BYU at that point. You're 10-2. You're ahead of Oklahoma at that point. You beat them.
Yeah.
Well, actually, I can't say that, but about 10-2 teams are beating them. But playing that card, right, of being ahead of Oklahoma, it's not the fact you lost to Ohio State. It's the fact you lost to Florida. That is the thing that matters the most. And yes, that third loss does stare at you in the face.
Yeah, and if you're truly like, if you're putting the 12 best teams in the playoffs, Texas is probably one of the top 12, especially at this point in the season with the way they've been playing to close out the season, especially with that win last week. They're a good team, and Arch is really heating up, and I'm excited to see what he does next year. But obviously, you can't have that Florida loss on your resume if you want to make the playoff.
Yep. Keep playing those Texas versus Ohio State games as the college football fan in me. That game does not affect you when it comes to this.
Oh, yeah.
Because I'll even say this, if you schedule Kent State and you're 10-2 and you still have that loss to Florida, I don't know if you're in here still with that loss to Florida. It's that ugly is the problem. It's not that Ohio State loss at all, I promise you. But Braden, I hope you read my brain on what I want to say about 10-12 and then 13-14 with this ranking. I want you to read my brain.
Oh, yeah. No way. So Vanderbilt, obviously, they're behind all these teams. They don't realistically have a shot to get in. They don't have the resume. Their quality wins are LSU, Missouri, Tennessee. That's just not enough to compete with these other SEC teams. Their losses are number 9, Alabama, 30-14. That's a quality loss. And number 13, Texas, 34-31. So Vanderbilt with 2 losses is ranked behind Texas with 3 losses because they lost that head-to-head matchup. Huh. Isn't that
We're just saying what the people we're saying what the people are thinking.
That aside, unfortunate for Vandy, they're not going to make it. It's been a super fun season for them, and one of the best the school has ever seen, especially this century. Diego Pavia maybe got a little bit of a shot to win the Heisman. He's 3rd behind Sayin and Mendoza, so not likely. But he's been great. And then when he's gone, Jared Curtis will be there, the number 5 overall prospect in the 2026 class. He flipped from Georgia to Vandy. So things are looking up for Vandy. Maybe they're here to stay in the SEC, and that's exciting.
Clark Lee is that guy. He is that guy.
I really think they are, Braden. And obviously, as Joe mentioned, locking up Clark Lee with that huge extension, especially with all of these head coach openings. LSU, Penn State.
He was tied to Penn State.
It's a damn good thing they locked him up because he is a great coach, along with Kurt Cignetti. Indiana did the same thing. I think we touched on this last podcast, so I won't go too much into it. But I think Vanderbilt's here to stay, and I'm really happy to say that, especially given their past.
We're in a different world than we were just 10 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
It's crazy. Braden, take me to UVA.
Yeah. So this is simple. We're going to be brief here. You're in the ACC championship game. Your quality wins are Florida State and Louisville. They're not great. And they also beat Duke earlier. We talked about that earlier too. They're not great quality wins, but it doesn't matter because you're in your conference championship game. You just have to win. Their losses, their only in-conference loss came against 8-4 Wake Forest, 16-9. And then in a scheduled non-conference game against 7-5 NC State, they lost 35-21.
It really mattered that much. What
conference is NC State in again? Because that's a non-conference game for UVA.
The ACC.
Anyway, we mentioned it earlier. They're taking on Duke in the ACC championship game on Saturday night in Charlotte. Win and you're in. That's all that there is to it for UVA.
Green Wave. These 4 teams are battling at the end for 1 to 2 spots. 2 to 4 spots. This is exciting.
Yeah, Tulane checks in at number 20, has one of the cleanest playoff paths of any non-Power 5 team, and that's mostly due to the committee deciding it that way. For the Green Wave, it's simple. Win the AAC title game, and they're in. The highest-ranked Group of 5 champion gets an automatic college football playoff berth, and Tulane holds that spot heading into their matchup with North Texas. This game is also a bit of a transfer portal showcase. Tulane's John Summerall is headed to Florida, and North Texas's Eric Morris is off to Oklahoma State. We touched on that a little bit earlier, but with both coaches moving on, players know they're effectively auditioning for what comes next.
Yep.
Still, Tulane's formula is straightforward. Summerall is sticking around to finish the year, and I think the team rallies behind that, win the AAC, secure the Group of 5 auto bid, and punch a ticket to the CFP. No scoreboard watching, no chaos, just beat North Texas or risk opening the door for another Group of 5 contender.
As a transition over to North Texas, John Summerall and I agree as soon as the College Football Playoff Committee rankings came out of why Tulane was over North Texas to begin with. Doesn't make any sense to me. But, I mean, it doesn't make any sense, and North Texas can be mad about it, the 3 weeks it happened. But now it really doesn't matter. The thing that really does matter is the fact that the team you're going to hint on after this, Brent, is that JMU was ranked below them. And that is massive for the Mean Green, because not only they don't need to worry about anything else besides winning this football game. And unless the committee does something, right, which hold your breath till you see your name up there in bright, shiny green, right, until it's over, whether that's a green wave or North Texas Mean Green, right? They have a 50% chance to make the college football playoff. Tulane was at 40%, despite a 4-point difference there in ranking. Drew Mestemaker, Brent, you took the words right out of my mouth. Put your film on tape at the biggest stage you're going to play on this season, because this kid is going to be a Power 4 quarterback, whether it's at Oklahoma State following Eric Morris or somewhere else. There's no way that kid stays over there in Denton. So there's just no chance about it. That kid is a superstar. He'll take his talent somewhere fantastic. But simple as this, winning you're in. The playoff ranking has spoken with 2024 and 25. That's all you need at North Texas. And what a year for them as well with Eric Morris. So just the Group of 5 got shook up in so many ways. But close us out here with JMU, who needs a win and a hope.
Yeah, here's what really doesn't make sense to me. The AP poll has JMU at 19th, ahead of North Texas, ahead of Tulane. But the College Football Playoff Committee does not see it that way. Obviously, JMU at 25th, North Texas at 24, and Tulane all the way up at 20th. So if you're a JMU fan, I understand it. I understand the frustration. This team is good. It's a really good team. But I think they're going to need some help to make it in. They just hammered Coastal 59-10 and finished unbeaten in league play. As I said, number 25 in the college football rankings behind Tulane, North Texas. That path is steep. JMU's best asset is the single loss to Louisville, which, I mean, Louisville's a pretty good team. But if you win the Sun Belt, especially decisively against a team like Troy, they at least force a conversation for the committee. Their hopes hinge on the AAC race. If North Texas beats Tulane, it becomes a comparison of 2 one-loss Group of 5 champs, and North Texas likely has the stronger resume between the two. But the real chaos scenario is the ACC. If Duke beats Virginia and the ACC champ is 8-5, 2 Group of 5 teams could get in. The AAC winner and potentially JMU at 12-1. But brands like Miami, Texas, Vanderbilt, they're going to have some arguments as well. But as we mentioned, those chances are not very high at all. I'd put JMU's chances ahead of those for sure. Coach Bob Chesney off to UCLA after the season, but he's staying through the finale. So he's hopeful that he can punch his ticket to the playoff.
I think most fun and chaotic scenario is North Texas wins, Troy beats JMU, Duke beats UVA, Duke gets that 12 seed. Because or hear me out. Hear me out. Does Duke get in, or does an 11-2 UNLV get in?
Ugh.
What are their chances? They're not on here.
Maybe we should have talked about them a little more. Who knows?
That's insane. That would break my brain.
Chaos. The parlay odds of that are probably $1 for a mil. It's probably something crazy, but just so you know, obviously we picked the conference championships. We won't go into our match-by-match breakdowns for you just because next week we'll be back. Obviously, we have 2 more podcasts in 2025, next Wednesday and the Wednesday after at 7 o'clock. We won't be with your Christmas Eve or on New Year's Eve. We'll be with loved ones and family. But who knows? Check out the Instagram and the Twitter. Maybe some little things in there. Maybe some giveaways, some behind-the-scenes stuff of the Sports Outlet Show. So make sure you're staying along with us. But before that, your Sports Outlet Show college football playoff, based on what we said, would have the Buckeyes at 1 at 13-0. The Hoosiers just dropping to 12-1. Texas Tech bouncing up to 12-1 with Georgia losing. Oregon at that 4. That wraps up your final 4 with the byes there. The Bulldogs are going to sit at number 5 with Ole Miss staying steady at 6. And then the Crimson Tide jumping up to 7 with that SEC championship win. Texas A&M will get to host Oklahoma at Kyle Field. Notre Dame, they will get to go play Alabama. UVA is going to get a trip to Ole Miss, a game they probably want. And then North Texas Mean Green will get to play the Georgia Bulldogs in Athens. So a couple things for you to watch there. Definitely super, super exciting to see how this shakes out in the next, I was about to say couple weeks, but couple days, gentlemen, before we have a perfect bracket on Sunday. So, like I said, we got 2 more coming Wednesday at 7 o'clock, our usual time. Thanks for hanging out with us here on the late shift. We know we have some people that are working late, so we wanted you to have your drive home here with us on the Sports Outlet Show. But Braden, Brent, I know we didn't talk much about NFL, but the Carolina Panthers are the best team in football. We beat the Rams and the Packers, so I had to put it in there at least 1 point. That's all I'm going to say. You boys got anything before we jump off here this close to midnight?
No, I think we covered it pretty well. We showed our playoff picture. We got a lot of action this weekend, and the committee has a lot of decisions to make.
I just want to say that these conversations are what might make college sports so beautiful. Any sport with a selection Sunday, the fact that we get to have these conversations and that it's subjective and that we can argue and have discourse about it, it's just beautiful to me. I love it. Everybody's
right and everybody's wrong at the same time. It's beautiful. Again, for the 18th time, I don't envy the college football playoff people, but everyone is going to be pissed off at you on Sunday. So good luck. Do your best. Regardless of what you put in there, I am pumped for the college football playoff and bowl season because I'm watching the Pop-Tarts Bowl over the Super Bowl. That's all I need. We'll see you next time here at the Sports Outlet Show next Wednesday at 7 p.m. for, we may have some bowl pick'ems, but definitely college football playoff and heading back to the NFL season. Thanks so much, guys. Have a great night.